Brothers podcast. This is ABC DVD, two brothers' journey through a DVD collection that will chew you up and spit you out. I'm Noah.
I'm Josh.
And this is Machete.
Machete.
Which...
A Grindhouse film.
A Grindhouse, which I have not seen Grindhouse, but I know of.
Well, I mean, it's a term that, of these cheesy old movies of exploitation that Tarantino and Rodriguez were fans of. So the Grindhouse of Death Proof and Planet Terror were the Grindhouse films. They are
a Grindhouse film.
Yeah.
Was there a movie called Grindhouse?
I'm not.
Or am I thinking of like Roundhouse or
Roadhouse?
Roadhouse.
Roundhouse was, I believe, the Nickelodeon improv show back in the '90s on Snick.
Oh yeah, right before Are You Afraid of the Dark? I hated it.
I know. You just had to suffer through it before you got your scary stories.
But this was released in September of 2010. It was directed by Robert Rodriguez, who is known for Sin City, From Dusk Till Dawn, and Spy Kids.
Yeah.
It was also directed by Ethan Maniquis, who is only known for Lemonade.
The Beyonce thing?
No, not the Beyonce. The non-Beyonce Lemonade, so it's not as good.
Okay.
No Queen Bee for you.
Okay.
Writer was Robert Rodriguez with Alvaro Rodriguez, his cousin.
Okay.
Who was known for The Last Rampage and American Rust.
Okay.
Starring Danny Trejo in his first leading role.
Okay. I mean,
he was in other things, but this is the first time he got to be leading.
I mean, he's been in Spy Kids. He's been in
Dusk Till Dawn and Heat. I mean, you know Danny Trejo if you've seen Danny Trejo.
And you know, personally, I've heard like the nicest guy in the world.
Yes.
I mean, he's like 5 foot nothing. Mm-hmm. He's probably a little taller than, but he's very short, but very friendly, very lovable, and then just this badass on screen.
Mm-hmm. Michelle Rodriguez from the Fast and the Furious Sisters,
Fusopods,
and SWAT,
and Avatar,
and Robert De Niro. So Joshy gets to play. What does Robert De Niro know for on IMDb?
All right, Godfather 2?
No, but I'd put it on there.
I would have given it. Was he? I'm trying to think of what Martin Scorsese was. He in Casino?
I would put Casino, and I'd also put Goodfellas.
Analyze that might be if they want to do like a comedy or Meet the Parents.
Mm-hmm. IMDb puts Robert De Niro in Raging Bull.
Okay, that's fair.
Cape Fear.
Okay.
Taxi Driver.
Okay, that should.
And Deer Hunter.
Ugh, Deer Hunter. God, you want to spend 45 minutes of your opening movie on a wedding? Look at you, Deer Hunter, and Twilight. I don't like either one of you.
That is a big range from
I know,
sparkly vampires.
If you spend a good portion of your opening movie on a wedding, I'm not going to like you, apparently.
It made $44.1 million, which is really good for
what it is.
For what it is. And
I'm always amazed at Robert Rodriguez's pull for actors. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at this with, Robert De Niro and, I'm not saying Jeff Fay and Don Johnson are that big, but Jessica Alba. They're bigger names. But then you look at Spy Kids, and you get George Clooney, and it's not surprising that he gets Antonio Banderas because he's done things with him. But it's like Clooney or Sylvester Stallone or De Niro. It's like, wow, you must be the nicest guy in the world.
Oh, I bet he is.
For, to have people come back and work with you. Or just say, hey, do this stupid movie for me. It's going to be a message that you kind of like and you're going to be a bad guy. So, I'm always amazed.
Then we're just going to go into the intro, and I like it because it is grainy and jumping around and...
Yeah, this is the part of the film, this opening sequence in Mexico, where you see the lines on the film, the jumping, the feel of what they were doing with Grindhouse, and it's gratuitous action, gratuitous followed by immediately gratuitous nudity.
Yes,
you're just like, this is to set the tone of what movie are you going to watch, and this is it.
No, Machete is a Mexican cop on a mission, and he is met by Steven Seagal, who is the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it should be pointed out, this is the first time Steven Seagal is the villain in a movie. He's been anti-heroes. He's been kind of dark and broody character. It's the first time he is an outright villain.
I mean, you might feel he's an outright villain in the real world, but this is the first time he is in a movie.
And he killed Machete's family.
Oh, no!
And then we get, a very 70s intro card.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like it's right out of, a Shaft or...
any of those exploitation, films. And, I remember when I saw Steven Seagal, I was like, Steven Seagal's in this! Okay, I wasn't expecting that, and...
But yeah.
On my first viewing, at least,
No. I mean, this is my first viewing.
Yeah, no, this is my second, but it's always fun to, re-examine these things that, because this is one of those things of, it's a bad movie, but it was purposely made to be a bad movie, so they did their job right.
No, they did, but it's not done like a bad movie, like a, not another teen movie where you're being spoofy. It's no, you are taking the care to make it a movie, but in definitely a theme of it's action, it's gratuitous, and it's unrealistic on every single level.
Exactly. And then we get to...
3 years later.
In America.
Yes. Agent Jessica Alba is on the case watching Michelle Rodriguez sell burritos.
Yes, at the nefarious taco truck.
Yes, and Machete is now a day laborer.
Yeah. And it's like, this dangerous person, I shall let him live and escape into another country. This won't bite me in the butt. It's like...
it's very Bond villain. It's like, well, clearly he is dead, for I have set fire to everything.
Yeah, so...
But then we got, meanwhile, on the border, Don Johnson is also a bad guy.
Who knew that Border Patrol people aren't nice?
I know. Just vigilantes with guns on the border.
And you know what? Don Johnson, he works weekends, and he wears sunglasses at night. Because he can.
And this is, a decade ago. It's like, you're just like, oh God, this is still a thing. This doesn't age at all. It is still relevant.
Oh yeah, we're dealing with this.
But we also have Senator De Niro, who is also a bad person.
Oh, the white senator's bad in this movie too.
Well, and I have to appreciate that De Niro is putting on a Texas accent, because when he's not on the trail, he sounds like De Niro from like Goodfellas, but when he's talking to the people, he's all twangy and down country.
Yep. And it's just amazing.
We then get to have Machete show what a badass he is by doing a bare knuckle boxing fight while holding burrito.
Yeah, no, you want to keep that.
Well, because I know when I get a Chipotle burrito and I need to go get a glass of water, I don't put it down. I'm going to hold it.
Well, I'll spill otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah. I also love whenever they're driving through Texas, it is the green screen country of Texas, because it is clearly, whenever they're in the car, it is that cheesy, we're just going to replace the background. And I know that was done on purpose to look as bad as it was.
No, and it does. It like I said, from start to finish, it is definitely keeping true to the source material of like, no, if we can do it on the cheap, we're going to do it on the cheap.
They do it on cheap, yeah.
But Machete gets a job from Jeff Fahey Booth, and he's going to kill the senator.
Yeah. Because he tells Machete this is what we need to do. It's a win-win. It helps your people. It helps my finances.
Yep.
But it was a lie.
It was a setup. Who saw that coming?
Who did see that coming?
But before that, Booth has to go save Lindsay Lohan from what I assume is a natural Lindsay Lohan weekend.
Yeah.
Because like Lindsay Lohan, who only spent 3 days on set, it's like, I believe that she knows all these things that happened to her in real life.
Exactly, yeah.
But no, we get to the assassination.
Yeah,
the double cross.
There was a double cross. It was a false flag, kind of a... I don't know if you saw the mockumentary Bob Roberts, but it's the same idea of using a fake assassination to get a overly conservative character elected. And
well, it's a wag the dog. Can we get sympathy because he's down in the polls?
Yeah.
But he gets to go to the attractive hospital, which screamed telenovela to me.
All the super hot nurses and the sympathetic doctor.
And, it's like, how long is an intestine rope? Well, it's enough to get you out of the hospital.
Well, and I love, it's like, when he's escaping, it's like, oh, there's an empty gurney, we don't have to worry about it. Then he pops up from behind, it's like, where was he hiding? I know he's this tiny man, but still.
He's under there. We didn't bother to look.
Yeah. So this is... probably one of the more expensive shots is we get Agent Jessica Alba in the shower, because we need that exploitation, but she had a clause that she was going to have no nudity in the film, so this is a digital nude of her. I went, this shower scene was not necessary even for exploitation, so did you have to spend the money on it? But they chose to.
It's like, well, we have the body double. It'd be rude not to.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, we're back at Michelle's place, and there's a corkscrew on the table. It's like, oh, I bet that corkscrew is going to come in later.
Yep.
And it does. But I did look up, because she does help Machete by rubbing an egg over him and then cracking it under. Yeah. This is
Michelle Rodriguez.
Umancy. Or, it's to ward off the evil eye. Mm-hmm. And I know people have said, like, later, the egg is frying. Is this to show, like, is Machete hot? I'm like, I really thought, like, no, she doesn't have AC in her place. It's cooking.
It's hot in Texas, yeah. I just viewed it as, like, it sucks to live there when you don't have money.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But eventually they figure out Machete's in the shack, and they're going to basically storm it.
Storm it and blow it up and all this insanities.
Mm-hmm. But the corkscrew comes into it. He pops an eye out.
He pops an eye out. Then we get the what I call the fun evil henchman of Robert Niro or Steven Seagal's henchman. I don't remember.
Someone's henchman.
Someone's henchman is like they always cut to these guys just arguing of who are the Guardian, what's the deal with them, and one of them looks like Paul McCartney to me. So that always took me in.
Well, and I appreciate they do this throughout the entire movie as the working man, quotey fingers, is always talking about how, like, no, we don't really have a problem with people crossing the border. You have the workers like, well, we crossed the border and we're okay with each other. Like, even like the workers are like, they're really, Mexicans aren't really that bad if you stop and think about it.
No, it's the closest this message gets to saying that immigration, illegal or otherwise, is good for the economy because they'll do jobs that other people don't want, or that it just helps increase the workforce in general and allows economies to move.
Mm-hmm. But we get Lindsay Lohan with her mom in the pool, which it's Lindsay Lohan at the start of the pool, but it's not, because it's a splice from, there was a spoof of the Machete movie in one of the other Grindhouses.
So in the Grindhouse movies they had fake trailers and Machete was one of them, and this is
one of the scenes from.
It's like, Lindsay Lohan, she's so low in her career she won't, she'll show up nude. No, she wasn't. She still didn't want to do that.
Stuck to her guns.
Yeah. And interestingly, Robert Rodriguez told Danny Trejo about ideas for making this movie, and it was like, just offhand, I have an idea of making this movie. I don't think it's going to happen, but Danny Trejo really wanted to be a leading man, kept calling him and saying, hey, I had an idea for this scene, and then calling him was like, hey, I had an idea for this action scene, and Robert Rodriguez like, you can text me, right? And Danny Trejo says, Machete, don't text. And it's like, okay, well, that line convinced me that I have to make this movie and put that line in this movie.
I also like that we have Father Cheech.
Yes, Father Cheech.
And his cross of TVs, which is like, it's just so on the nose that it's just delicious. And I mean, Cheech Marin plays his characters to the nines. Yeah.
And he's a recurring Robert Rodriguez actor, and sometimes he plays a weird enemy, or sometimes he plays a fun ally.
Well, yeah, and it's like we get an Ave Maria scene in the church with the doves and all the guns and.
Later on, we get what I find is the weed whacker attack that just made me laugh. Of uses a weed whacker. It's like, okay, we're gonna be on the nose on some of these stereotypes and tropes and use it against us for humorous reasons.
No, I think the humor's on there. It's like, when a luchador breaks into Jessica Alba's like, why is there a luchador? At this point in the movie, you'd be like, well, why isn't there a luchador? Why haven't
I jump ahead, but when they storm the compound and you have all the day laborers with the stuff, and then one guy's bringing his ice cream cart with him, it's like, of course he would. Why wouldn't he?
Well, and going to that is, you get Jessica Alba beforehand, giving her Independence Day speech, where everyone's like, we're gonna go storm the compound. You get a lowrider army rolling out, and it's like you love the visual because these are such iconic cars, to the area, to the culture, and it is really fun to see them all rolling out.
I know not to nitpick about the story for what it was, but where they have Machete has stowed Lindsay Lohan and her mother at the church, and then Cheech gets crucified in the church, and the cops find it and blame it on Machete. I'm going, they didn't search the whole church because they were left in the rectory or rector. It's like naked and unmolested because. We found the guy. He's right here in this room. We don't need to go. The cops don't need to search any other room.
It's like if it's like, no, don't look into that.
Yeah, and of course, a good pun of the fight out in the church where there's a lot of shootings, and all the seats were being blown up, so there was a lot of pew-pews going on there.
Pew-pews.
You hate me for that.
But I think the meat of the movie is obviously in this last showdown.
Yeah.
I mean, if we are jumping through, it's like, well, this movie is leading to just a big old shootout.
The racist border patrol, their compound of militia, and what would be like the army of day laborers or illegal immigrants or just the downtrodden, Latino Hispanic culture, coming together in this, almost Alamo-esque shootout.
We do get a Wilhelm scream when one of the lowrider trucks squishes someone.
Yep.
But Michelle Rodriguez is bad. She's a badass. She's got a eye patch, which makes her even more of a threat. Lindsay Lohan shoots De Niro in her nun costume.
Well, I feel like Robert Rodriguez wanted to have all the ways to kill the bad guy in one movie. I was like, oh no, he's going to get turned on by his own people. Oh no, he's going to get turned on by his own daughter. Oh no, he's going to get turned on the people that he's downtrodden. Oh no, we're going to go back to the people that he's been turned on, that he allied himself with.
Well, and it is that De Niro dies by hubris. He's on an electric fence
on the border, being mistaken for an illegal immigrant.
I mean, it reeks of a Outer Limits, or Twilight Zone of no, if I only knew my error of my ways,
my poetic justice.
And then, we get the Machete and Seagal standoff because Seagal's been the puppet master behind all these, attacks on Machete.
Yeah, he's the drug kingpin. He needs, to maintain his power. Mm-hmm. And we get, a fight between samurai sword and machete kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And it was pointed out that though Seagal did lose, he kind of
didn't lose the duel
because he's never lost a duel on film, and it's like okay, I can kind of see you've given him
as a writer, kind of like I'm going to win the fight, but you're going to stab me, but then I'm going to commit seppuku or harikiri.
Yeah, so I don't technically lose.
I choose my own way out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's like, no, I mean, it's they win the day. Machete, rides off on his motorcycle with the girl.
Yep. And, is out there as a legend to help the downtrodden.
And to have a sequel.
And a sequel after that.
I mean, it's because of the Rodriguez names. Like, no, I bet you had the two movies already lined up that we're like, no, we're going to do it.
Well, and even if you're not, it's playing into that, again, that grindhouse, Hammer film kind of thing of, we're not done with this.
Yeah, we're going to have at least...
This character's coming back.
Mm-hmm. But the final body count, 98 people.
Okay.
Yeah, so not
the worst, but, better than some.
Yeah, it's like less than... RoboCop, more than usual.
Less than Hot Shots Part 2.
Most violent movie ever. Yeah. So it's...
This is a tough one.
This one's a tough one because everything is on the surface level. As you can see, we've gotten through the movie topic rather quickly because these scenes are exactly what they are. They are not deeper or more shallow. It is an action movie for people who love action movies,
and it's shot purposely on the cheap to so there's not a lot of interesting cinematography or interesting lighting because that's not the point of this.
No, this is meat and potatoes action movie, and I think you have to go into it with not a low expectation, but it's like no. This is just an action movie, start to finish. You're not going to get character development. You're not going to get deep plot. You're going to get scenes of ridiculous, not even like great choreographed fights. No, it's ridiculous fights of explosions and
I mentioned before, it's like this is a bad movie, but it's purposely a bad movie, so it's good.
Yes,
because it knows what it is and it presents itself properly, and so it's like you just have to be in the mood for a dumb action movie. And just accept that this is going to be silly, and you're going to have fun watching it.
Mm-hmm. And if that's not your thing, if you cannot stand,
the buyer was warned.
Yeah, this is straight up. It's like this is what you're getting. You're getting more, no less.
I mean, there's a reason why. Like, I think Jessica Alba won the Razzie or won the Razzie for worst actress that year or something like that.
Yeah, it's like no one's not putting their effort in because you have De Niro. You have these people are acting, but it's like. but you're not going to get an Oscar. You're not going to get... They're like, no, this is what it is. It is what it is, what it is.
Yeah.
But it's not a complete farce like, oh, I don't know...
I mean, like you said, not another teen movie or
like Naked Gun.
No, I see what you did there.
Because our next one is 100%
a spoof.
A spoof. And that is The Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen, a Zuckerberg, or a Zucker. Not Zuckerberg. That's a Facebook thing.
Zucker Abrams production. Yes. Yeah. And hopefully you watch Machete, and hopefully you'll watch Naked Gun before next week.
So you can get every single joke reference that we're going to talk about.
Yep. And thanks for stopping by.
Machete, don't text. Take care.
Bye. The Plotkin Brothers will return.
Plotkin Brothers will return in a revenge film.
Yeah, I had to turn that down. You're still peaking.
Sorry.
Yeah, I turned. It's fine. You know, it's Grindhouse. It could be bad audio. Pull forward, your nachos.
Got the nachos.